Well, another Steamfest has come and gone, and here's me again, with barely enough time to scratch the surface of the hundreds, maybe thousands of Steam games that are currently in the works. So, time to roll up our sleeves and dive back in. As always, games will be linked in the description, and if you want to help support our journey by donating to our causes and keep these videos coming, there's some more info at the end. Hope you enjoy. So, let's take a look at the best offerings I found this round of Steam Next Fest. My name is Bawss Sauce.
And I'm Roland Kunz, and together, we are the two-headed hero.
First off, we have a pair of games from the emerging indie imsim genre, one that is of course near and dear to my heart. In a landscape where we might never see another good Deus Ex or Thief game, it's great to see smaller studios picking up the threads. I want to mention Sorceress first, because this game currently has a Kickstarter campaign running. Please back it, because I need to satisfy my craving of kicking puppets around, and there's no other game that quite does it. This is a weird, wizardly immersive sim in the vein of Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. You can kick stuff, of course, interact with complex physics, stack boxes, use a variety of fun tools that all interact in unexpected ways, like a freeze gauntlet that can stun bad guys or bring a weapon into your hand, or a bubble gun that you can use for traversal, puzzle solving, or take enemies out of the fight temporarily. Combat is hectic, impactful, and feels great, and Sorceress is already an awesome start to what hopefully will be an excellent finish. On the other end of the indie imsim genre, we have Peripeteia. Peripeteia? Peripeteia is a game that's been in dev for a while now, but it just dropped a brand new demo. So shiny. It's an Eastern Bloc themed indie immersive sim that just oozes crusty vibes. You start out as a discarded cyborg with only a fragment of their past kicking around in their circuitry, waking up in a literal scrap heap as you try to uncover the mystery of the bunker you envisioned and how you met your horrible fate. Monolithic structures to navigate through, dark, dreary concrete jungles, big ruins full of twisted rebar and twisted mechs, and a huge emphasis on exploring and navigation. It doesn't hold your hand at all, but it definitely encourages the player to go out and find their adventure. You've got a few Soviet-flavored weapons to mess around with, including a silenced Mosin, and there's several interesting cyber augs that allow you to do things like run faster, see in the dark, and even control your enemies to give you more leeway in how you approach the gameplay's challenges. Each of the objectives seems to have multiple paths you can take to affect your outcomes differently, and this seems to play into a faction system. I'm looking forward to seeing how much this influences the eventual endings. Next up, we see Robocop Rogue City. We're not really going to talk much about Rogue City because all the other Steam Next Fest vids already did, but I will mention that the psych horror aspect got me sitting straight up in my chair. It's great to see a game from Teon, the same devs that made the incredibly fun cult hit Terminator Resistance, taking a shot at the big metal Borg. The satirical tone from the movies is absolutely nailed in the game's writing and quests, and I can't wait to see more. Boomer shooters have been blowing up the scene these past few years, and both the quality and quantity is reaching far beyond anything I would have expected from a 30-year-old genre. For example, we've got Relentless Frontier. Ignore the kinda questionable key art and get stuck into a breakneck fast blast fest full of aliens, deadly robots, and tons of secrets. This is a GZ Doom-based shooter with a lot of promise and a few mechanics to set it apart from the pack. Level design is sprawling without being confusing, and very explorative. It has moody lighting and colorful levels. On the gameplay side, you have this really cool omni-fuel mechanic. It allows you to melee kill certain baddies and drain juice from them to refill your armor, health, and ammo. Your lonely space marine has a pretty respectable movement set. You can double jump, slide jump, and do some acrobatic movement controls that feel pretty awesome if a little floaty. The variety of enemies all need different tactics for success. Destructible items are littered everywhere, and best of all, you have a big, beefy feeling arsenal. Even the melee attack has constant use and punchy feel, and the very first pistol you get feels like it could break through a tank. In case Relentless Frontier was not enough, there's also a demo out for The Last Exterminator. Now this is an unapologetic love letter to Duke Nukem 3D. You have a trash-talking protagonist taking out hordes of alien cockroaches with a bunch of heavy bang-bang, and like Relentless Frontier, the levels are also expansive and full of secrets. However, The Last Exterminator takes place in a big cityscape rather than on an alien frontier. There's several secret in-jokes for Boom Shoot fans and silly references.
Hi, you've reached the voicemail of... If you're not here to ruin my vacation, leave a message after the beep. How the hell do I turn this thing off?
The arsenal is small so far, but feels good, with some cool twists on old favorites. Bring back the break-action double-barrel shotgun, sure, but why not a double-barreled Uzi to mix things up? Now, roguelite games have enjoyed a long run of success as of late, even though they're not my personal favorite, but every once in a while one comes along that grabs my interest. This time it's Soulslinger, Envoy of Death. You become Death's cowboy buddy, a reaper that tracks down stolen souls from the afterlife's greedy soul cartel, and chase down big scary Vikings and cutthroats that want to burn your face off. This is not really a boomer shooter, it's more in line with an arena shooter, featuring the gated arenas, dodge mechanics, and cooldowns of something like Doom Eternal, but it definitely deserves a mention due to the high production value, full voiceover, cool cinematics, and furious gameplay. The story drops in little bits and pieces as memory flashes breadcrumb some of the Soulslinger's former life. The cowboy themes and cool music round out this dashy, flashy arena shooter roguelike, and upgrades and crafting systems help keep the players engaged. Plus, look at this awesome pirate skeleton. You can't say no to a game with a pirate skeleton in it.
But what's a pirate without its chest of doubloons and pieces of eight?
Now, Next Fest always serves as a showcase for the shiniest upcoming Steam titles, but if you scroll a little farther, you're bound to find some oddities. I've gotta say, this round featured not only some polished demos from old reliable genres, but also some quality weird games as well. First of all, we have Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom. Cute name. It's a bizarre mashup between Crazy Taxi and Mario 64 that somehow just melds together beautifully. You play as this little, tiny clockwork car that has to navigate blocky, colorful levels filled with needy video game people so that they keep your little key wound. Momentum-based platforming requires some pretty good jump timing, but the game feel is great. The collectathon elements all over the place remind you of the finest 3D platformers of the 90s. There's a bouncy soundtrack and sound effects that are era-appropriate that really tie this whole thing together. A few cringe writing moments with the Elon and Tesla references do little to hold back the rest of the demo's goofier moments. All the passengers you pick up have a little personality or mix up the objectives from time to time, including a boss fight. I'm looking forward to taking this taxi on another spin. On the other side of motor games, we've got Laika, Aged Through Blood. Now this is more of an Excitebike or Trials clone, kinda mixed with Mad Max furries. It's a story about a group of post-apoc foxes and puppos being tormented by a team of birds. Laika has gorgeous animation and awesome sound. It also has a well-thought-out control scheme with bullet-time gunplay and parry mechanics that complement the tricks that you need to pull off to reload your abilities, making each one of your runs look and feel cool as hell. However, the overly adult furry presentation might not be for everybody. Now we have HONKED, a clown noir. A dame walks into your office and makes a real bozo out of you. This is a 3D platformer where you're a clown in Clowntown, and basically Clowntown is an alternate dimension populated by clowns that do clown stuff and cannot seem to be hurt. Your job is to track down a missing clown, and you gotta do a lot of weird clown stuff to get there. So the primary puzzle mechanic in HONKED is a balloon mechanic. Now guess which this one is. If you guessed a flower, well I didn't. Anyways, the balloon mechanic is also the primary way you'll interact with the other characters in the environment and can even add some traversal mechanics. HONKED is silly fun, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how it plays out. Since we're hitting the wall of full-on ridiculousness, we might as well take a look at goblinAmerica. So this is a game where you step into the role of various goblin presidents throughout time in order to combat the agents of Bedlam. Who they are, I don't really know, but you're supposed to shoot them in the face apparently. You get to reenact famous moments like when Washington shot down the cherry tree, or when Lincoln turned around and blasted John Wilkes Booth in the face before running out of the theater and hopping over various Cadillacs. This is actually a speedrun game focusing on traversal by using rocket jumps and slides to whip through the levels as fast as possible. However, it encourages exploration since every level is packed with a bunch of secret items or routes that can help you on your clandestine quest. And it's super amusing and addictive to hunt down all the alternate routes and secrets. Up next we have Arcane Assembly. This is a weird esoteric platformer that completely revolves around using a visual programming language to create and cast your spells. It seems like a pretty cool idea, but in practice I kind of had issues getting any cool stuff to happen. Might have just been me. Still, the idea of formulating your own spells really makes you feel like a wizard. And platforming with a keyboard does suck, but I did have fun fighting the bosses and boinking around the levels, and the action is pretty fast and furious and well balanced. The Inquisitor is what happens when your mom says, "We have Witcher 3 at home." But the Inquisitor is trying pretty hard to punch above its weight class. You take on the titular role of
Mortimer Matadine, licensed Inquisitor, in service to the Bishop of Hezron.
A guy that roams the countryside trying to burn witches and kill vampires. After arriving in this humble village on the trail of a vampire, you get sucked into the local celebration to do stupid puzzles, janky QTEs, and be entertained at wonderfully acted conversation trees.
Words stink of lies.
It was as I said, I swear.
You have a little bit of agency with all the conversations here, and despite the kind of janky slow combat, you have a neat representation of traversing realms to get clues about the mysteries surrounding the village, like the horrible fate that befalls this witch.
We'll meet again, knave.
I don't think so.
On the polished but strange end of the spectrum, we have the Thaumaturge. A mystical Russo-Polish JRPG featuring Rasputin was not on my gaming bingo card for this year, but here we are. You play as Victor.
Wiktor Szulski. S-Z-U-L-S-K-I. And Victor with a W, not a V.
That's Victor with a W, a thaumaturge, or wizard that can call upon ethereal forces to see beyond the veil and influence others. The thaumaturge does a lot of things that Inquisitor does, but better. Presentation and voice acting are very high quality.
I wanted to sweep.
The JRPG combat was not expected at all, but there's also a decent amount of depth here, and it feels grounded in the setting. It's more in line with something like Disco Elysium, where you feed your character flaws in order to progress the story in different ways and uncover clues by using your mystical powers. For everyone that just needs a little break, we have Exhausted Man. This is a chill puzzle game where you lazily push a slow-moving tired person around a small set piece for points, glory, and little stories. And certain events also cause you to gain or lose energy, making energy management part of the key strategy. Take a pick at the end and celebrate your progress, and after completing a module, you're treated to the unraveling of a brief tale. The mini-games are almost hypnotic. There's just something really therapeutic about swirling your floppy little tired guy around a cup of coffee or munching your way through an apple like a hungry little worm. Olivia is an exhausted superhero. Yep, I feel you, Olivia, but let's move on. Octopus City Blues is quite possibly the strangest game we found during our entire foray into Steam Next Fest this time. This is almost an RPG Maker style adventure that pokes its head into supreme strangeness. In a world overrun by interdimensional squids and giant vermin, one blue-skinned, green-toothed loser tries to make his way in life. The game opens with you blowing a job interview with your sweaty limp handshake, eating a rancid sandwich, and getting your life stolen by a con man. You can also buy processed street drugs made out of octopus blood, get a tummy phone installed, and defer to your mother. It's completely weird and absolutely compelling, and I'm looking forward to a day where I can cut through this entire tentacled mass in the future. So there we have it, another 15 promising demos to keep an eye out for in the future. Which ones did you try out? Or did you have a particularly awesome experience with one that we missed? Let us know down in the comments below. On a personal note, I want to take a second to mention that we're absolutely blown away by the response to our Starfield video. It had way more of a reach than we ever could have expected from our little channel here, so from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Based on this poll, we'll be taking a similar look at Cyberpunk 2077 and CD Projekt Red in the near future, although I'm not really sure why so many voters seem to hate fun. Anyway, if you like what we're doing and you want to support us, there's a few ways that we've opened up. First off, you can join our new Patreon page. It's a $2 monthly donation to get a mention in the video, and other perks include a special Discord role in the Dun Generator Discord, where you can kick up your dusty boots with us at the Heroes table. You can toss a tip our way on Ko-Fi, become a YouTube channel member, or buy some games on GOG using our affiliate link. That'll help us out too. You can always help us a little more by liking, sharing, subscribing, or commenting on the video. All the stuff that the almighty YouTube algorithm enjoys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next Two-Headed Hero.